You are listening to Under the Gun, Book 9 of the Nadia Wolf Series, written by Nicolette Pierce. Copyright 2023. Audio copyright 2025 by Pierced Heart Publishing. Digitally narrated with full cast of voices. Chapter 18. The next morning, Maya set a pair of jeans, t-shirt, and a hoodie on the bed. Nothing feminine or sparkly, just my usual style of clothing that I preferred. It made me uneasy, like an offering before the execution.
"You'll be fine,"
she said, as if she could read my thoughts.
"Now that the CEO agreed with Remy, the room will be secure. The guards will monitor everything outside of the room. Ava and Remy will be inside with you and Caleb. Only the TV crew will be there as well."
And you'll be okay? I asked, knowing I gave her and David the most important job. She nodded.
"Remy will put us in lockdown as well. Not even Edward can come up here. Ollie will be fine. I promise."
My heart constricted, knowing anything could go wrong. The killer could be anywhere. They had gone silent. No threatening messages. Nothing to give us clues. Caleb appeared at the door.
"Breakfast is ready."
"I'm not hungry. You go ahead."
"Nadia, you should eat something."
Maya straightened as if she remembered something important.
"I'll just leave you two alone."
She flew out the door. Caleb crossed over to me and hugged me to him.
"Are you nervous?"
"Aren't you?"
"Nervous is an understatement, but we'll be fine."
I wasn't sure how he could be so calm. Ollie could end up an orphan in one shot. I cringed at the word choice, but it was accurate. "What happens to Ollie if we're dead?" I asked. "Do we even have a will?" He pulled back to look at me with a frown.
"I didn't even think about that. Should I call Jessica?"
"No, I don't want to talk to Jessica. We're in this mess because of her and the stupid contract."
"It's not her fault. She still hasn't learned that anything that has to do with you could become life-threatening."
I heard the teasing in his tone, but his weary eyes told me something else.
"We stick to the plan we came up with last night. Push all in on a bad hand. I'll knock you out. Ava will get you to safety."
"It's a good plan, but what about you? You'll be there until the end."
"I'll be fine. Just get in and get out."
When I nodded, he placed a kiss on top of my head.
"We're in this together, kitten."
As I finished getting ready, Caleb stayed in the room with Ollie and me. He didn't talk much after that, just wiggled Ollie's toes and smiled at him. When it was time, I gave Ollie a kiss and then put him in the crib. Caleb and I headed to the living room. David, Maya, Remy, and Ava were assembled.
"Everyone is in place,"
Remy said.
"Security has their orders. Grayson, Mark, and Frankie are watching the doors. David, did you sweep the penthouse?"
"It's clear."
"Good. Maya, go ahead and lock yourself in the bedroom with Ollie."
David gave her a kiss before she left.
"Be safe,"
she ordered to David.
"I will."
When Maya left, Remy glanced at me.
"You ready, Jed?"
As ready as I can be. We proceeded to the service elevator. Ava made sure the area was clear before we stepped inside.
"David, the floor is yours. Once we are off the elevator, the floor will be on full lockdown."
"Understood. Good luck."
David shut the door and locked it. The four of us rode down to the main floor in silence with Remy and Ava standing in front. When the doors opened, Ava walked out first. Caleb and I followed in a single file row with Remy bringing up the rear.
"Lock it down,"
Remy said into the radio. The hallway was eerily quiet. No service people or carts to make noise. Thankfully, it was a short walk, and we arrived at event room doors that had 2 guards stationed in front of them. When they saw it was Remy, they opened the door and then closed it after we walked through. The event room wasn't the same one we had used for the main tournament. This one was smaller. Beyond the security guards stationed at the doors, there was a camera crew. 2 men stood behind mounted cameras, and 1 man had a camera hoisted on his shoulder. 4 players and the dealer stood near the table, waiting for the play to begin. A woman wearing black pants and a white dress shirt stood off to the side with a beverage cart.
Secure the event room doors.
Remy said into the radio. This was it. I let out a breath and headed to the table with Caleb. Remy and Ava stood just out of camera range, but close enough to help us if needed. A man with glittery red glasses stepped away from the others and clapped Caleb on the shoulder.
Only for you would they make this place into Fort Knox.
Nice to see you, Side Pot.
Caleb said, ignoring the comment.
Why haven't I seen you in the high-stakes room recently?
New wife, new laws.
What number wife are you on now?
Only my fourth.
I neared the table, not wanting to partake in small talk. The dealer pointed me to the end corner of the table. The woman with the beverage cart came over and asked for my order. Her satin black hair stood out against her white dress shirt. Side Pot sat next to me and eyed the woman appreciatively. Just water, please, I said, hoping Side Pot didn't make a move on her, especially after acquiring wife number 4.
And for you, sir?
What are you offering?
He asked, making my skin crawl. I could only imagine what she had to go through on a daily basis, let alone with men who were clearly only after one thing.
I can make almost anything.
His gaze drifted along her.
I bet you can. You look familiar.
She ducked her head.
I've served you drinks before.
Did you serve me anything else?
I pretended to stretch, elbowing him in the ribs. Side Pot groaned and then said,
I'll take a whiskey, neat.
Are you sure you want a drink at the final table when you're playing against Caleb? I asked him.
Takes the edge off.
Taking the edge off a knife makes it dull.
Caleb said, as he sat across the table from me.
Don't worry. You might have more luck than the average person, but you're not infallible.
Care to make it interesting?
Caleb asked with a twinkle in his eyes. I leveled him with a stern gaze. Now was not the time for side wagers. But that would be like telling Caleb not to be himself. He was the king of side wagers.
I'm listening.
Side Pot said.
Loser has to do something embarrassing. Winner's choice.
Side Pot's lips pressed together, but he nodded.
Deal. Anyone else want in on this?
I shook my head since I would ultimately be the loser.
We're on in 5.
A cameraman said. The remaining players sat. I recognized most of them as being on the poker circuit. They were the players that frequented final tables or the high-stakes room. To find myself at the final table with any of them, including Caleb, meant that I was either improving my game or I had a streak of luck. There was only one person I didn't recognize. He sat on the other side of me.
Good luck,
He said. His blue eyes crinkled at the corners when he smiled at me. Between his styled hair and clothing that looked like it was selected by Tiffany, I knew he had money. Good luck to you, too.
Thanks. I've never been at a final table before.
Congrats on making it.
I'm Ezra, by the way.
Nadia.
You're married to Caleb, right?
I nodded.
I've always wanted to be at a table with him. I entered the tournament because of him. Eventually, I want to play at his level.
You must be pretty good already. You were invited to the tournament and are at the final table. He shrugged.
They only invited me because I'm a sponsor. Luck got me to the final table.
He glanced around him.
I didn't expect the final table to be so secure.
I gave a nod, not wanting to get into the reason. I wasn't sure if it had been explained to the other players, and I didn't want to make him nervous.
I guess they had to secure the room, especially with all the deaths.
Did you know any of the people? I asked. He nodded.
I've played poker with Jack before.
Since I had been with Jack at the tournament table, I knew for sure Ezra didn't play him then. It must have been at a different time. When did you play Jack?
A private game. Jack was there. So was Blondie.
You knew Blondie? He nodded.
Not well, but I've seen her at parties.
If Ezra moved in the same social circles, he might know something about their deaths. Or maybe he was the killer. I inched closer to Side Pot. Does that mean you know Pike as well? I asked.
Name doesn't sound familiar.
What about Paula Wilk?
Sounds familiar. Wasn't she on the news recently?
She died. He frowned.
So many deaths. I guess that's Sin City for you.
1 minute.
The camera guy said.
Here we go.
Ezra said, nervously wiping his hands along his thighs. Do you know who Blondie and Jack worked for? I asked softly.
No, but at parties there was always a woman not too far away from Blondie. I think they worked together.
A woman? He nodded.
Pretty.
I hurried to send a text to Maya, hoping she could look through Blondie's social media for a picture of the other woman. I then tucked the phone under my leg as the camera guy counted down.
In 5, 4, 3.
He gave the dealer the cue. The first hand was dealt. Barely glancing at my hand, I saw it was a low offsuit. When it was my turn, I shoved all in and then sat back, waiting for Caleb to call. He knew I'd go in on the first hand if they were bad cards. He called and we flipped over our cards. His only helpful card was an ace. Worst case scenario, he would win with a high card. However, I made a pair on the flop. Damn. He still had time to win. The river always changed fortunes. But not this time. I won with a pair of threes. The chips were shoved to me. Caleb still had more chips than I did, so he wasn't knocked out. Still, it annoyed me. Every time I wanted to quit the game, that's when luck was on my side. If I attempted to play in earnest, that's when I'd lose. With a new plan to play like I meant to win, I waited for the next hand. Pair of kings. Perfect. I raised the pot and waited as the dealer turned over the cards. No kings, but I still had a decent pair. It was only me and one other player by the time the river was dealt. The new cards didn't help me, but the guy grinned and turned over 2 tens. A third 10 was displayed on the table, giving him a 3 of a kind. He won, and the chips were shoved to him. Perfect. I just needed to keep this up and I'd be out of here. However, after an hour of me winning and losing, my chip stack remained exactly the same.
Break.
The cameraman called after a hand ended.
Take 5.
Those who needed to use the restroom were escorted out by a guard. Caleb and I remained inside the room, having agreed to only take sips of beverages to reduce the amount of time out of the room. Sidepot struck up a conversation with Caleb, and Ezra left to use the restroom. With a few minutes to myself, I peeked at my phone and found a message from Maya. She sent pictures of a woman who appeared behind or near Blondie. The woman's short hair was as dark as a raven's feather. Her makeup was dark as well, giving her the appearance of being a fashionable mistress of the night. Looking off to the side, her gaze was laser-focused. I scrolled over to find what she was looking at so intently. My finger still at Caleb's image. He was in the background, nearly unnoticeable. When had this picture been taken? Had Caleb met Blondie before, or was this just a case of being at the same place at the same time? The one thing I knew was that the raven-haired woman only had eyes for Caleb. Since Caleb was still in conversation with Sidepot, I crossed over to him and placed my hand on his shoulder. Sorry, Sidepot, I said. I need my husband for a second.
Still in the honeymoon stage, huh? That's the best part. It all ends, though.
He headed over to the beverage cart. The woman smiled at Sidepot, but then peeked over at Caleb. Was there no woman immune to Caleb? Showing Caleb the picture, I asked, Do you know this woman?
No, should I?
You're in the picture, I said, zooming in so he could see. He took the phone.
I don't remember this. Must have been a while ago.
This woman has been in pictures with Blondie.
Is she significant?
I'm not sure. The guy sitting next to me told me about her, just that she was always around Blondie. I had Maya check Blondie's social media pages again, and she found this woman in several photos. Caleb frowned.
I wish I could remember, but
He zoomed into the woman's face.
there is something familiar about her.
What about her is familiar?
1 minute.
The camera guy announced.
Players take their seats.
I don't know what's familiar.
Caleb said, handing my phone back.
I feel like I've seen her before, but something isn't right.
Let me know if you remember, I said, and then whispered. I'm going to go all in again. Call it. He gave a nod, and we returned to our seats. Ezra took a drink from the server and then sat next to me.
Good luck again.
He said. You too.
Thanks. I'll need it. My stack is nearly gone.
He would have to go all in when the big blind hit him. There was no way he'd survive. When I had the perfect terrible hand, I wanted to shove all in, but Ezra didn't have the stack to wipe me out. Only Caleb and Sidepot did. If I couldn't lose to Caleb, I would try to get Sidepot to go all in with me on the next horrible hand. I hated to give Sidepot more chips to use against Caleb, but I wanted to get back to Ollie. As I waited, I noticed the server watching the game, but mostly watching Caleb. Her blue gaze drifted to him more than anyone else. Not that it was unusual. Women's gazes tended to linger on him. But this was more. I could bet money that at the end of the tournament she would slip him her phone number if she hadn't already. Glancing at the cocktail napkin under his water glass, I wondered if it had her phone number. Finally, I found my opportunity to go all in against Sidepot. He eyed me, trying to see if I was bluffing. Whatever he saw, he decided to take a chance. He pushed all in. So did Caleb. Damn. We turned over our cards. Caleb had pocket aces. Sidepot had a king and queen of diamonds. I only had a 4 and 5 offsuit. I was set up to fail, but now that Caleb was in the hand, I didn't know what to expect. A king, jack, and 4 came on the flop. That helped Sidepot, and it gave me a small pair. Nothing to worry about. The turn was a 10. Sidepot had a possibility of getting a straight and beating Caleb. The river would decide who won. The dealer turned over the card. A 4. I stared in horror at it. I won. Again. The chips were shoved to me. Caleb gave me a small wink, indicating he would bail on the next hand. He'd watch Ollie. With a deep breath, I stacked the chips as the next hand was dealt. I tossed the hand away. However, Sidepot wiped out Caleb. Not only did Caleb lose the tournament, but he lost the side wager as well. Sidepot would not go easy on him. Caleb patted Sidepot on the shoulder as he stood and went to the back of the room with Remy. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the server leave her post by the cart. She was going to make her move on Caleb. Continuing to stack the mountain of chips, I watched as she sauntered over to him, running her hair over her shoulder. A lock of golden hair clashed against the black. She was wearing a wig. The golden hair was familiar, but not the blue eyes. Could it be Carmela? No, she was dead. But Carmela had worn wigs. She also changed her eye color. She made herself to look like me. What if she was the woman in the picture? I pulled out my phone and studied the woman. The makeup hid a lot, but not everything. Not the laser gaze that stared at Caleb. It was Carmela. I was sure of it, which meant she wasn't dead. She faked her death. But why? Like a chameleon, Carmela changed into whoever she needed to be. Carmela was at the casino when Jack died. She could have killed him and ordered Blondie's abduction. Her own death. What was the purpose if only to make herself disappear? Did things get too hot for her after Jack's death? And if she could take on other personas, who else had she disguised herself as? I flipped to the picture of fake Paula on the news. The red-haired woman had the same shaped face. Carmela.
Can I call a timer?
A player asked.
Nadia, it's your turn.
Fold. Tossing my hand away, I looked over to find Carmela off to the side of Caleb as he spoke to Remy. She glanced back at me, her gaze colliding with mine. A knowing little smile slipped onto her lips. Right then, I knew she was behind everything. Carmela was the one who sent the message. She was the one who was going all in. For Caleb. Slipping her hand along her thigh, her skirt hitched up, revealing a flash of metal. I shoved from the table and sprinted over as her hand clasped around the gun. Instead of pointing it at Caleb, she turned it at me. With a smirk, she targeted me, and I realized I played right into her hand. She pulled the trigger, the sound deafening in the small room. Glee blazed in her eyes as the bullet found its mark. Pain. Heat. Falling. Everything became still in that moment, as if I was viewing the world through an old camera as it clicked open and closed. Caleb's confused expression turned to dread. Remy launched at Carmela. She turned her gun on Caleb. Another shot. I hit the floor and cried out as pain tore through me. I had to get to Caleb. I had to. A hand pressed down on my shoulder. The agony of it stole my breath.
Stay still.
I couldn't focus on whoever leaned over me, driving me into torment as they pressed hard against my shoulder. The pain intensified and the room grew dark. And then there was another shot.